It's waiting for
Good
the
evening,
recording.
friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever whichever part of the world. I'm happy to welcome you all. Our 12th webinar of ILLC International. It was started 6 months back, and we got a warm response all over the world. We already got members who've been registered with us from more than 35 countries, and still counting people from new countries to start sending questions to us. They start appreciated about the videos. And most of the visitors on our web pages know about the speakers and their books. And a lot of people asking about what are the new books that are available. So we are so happy that what is the purpose of this pandemic. We started this particular platform is wonderfully there. So I'm not taking much time to you. I'm also like you all waiting for our special speaker. We'll talk about a lot of things today. So today my job is very less because I'm going to just introduce him and he will take over the full section there. So I'll just show you a small PPT, then I will hand over to our speaker. Can you all see the screen?
Yep.
Thank you. So welcome you all, our 12th webinar. So we do a lot of our 2020 shows. So we just passed 2020 show now because this is something very important, this webinar. So I'm just taking this opportunity to connect with you all. So what ILLC, what we do, a lot of things. So we have online trainings we used to give. There are certain areas we've been covering, and people from freshers, different part of the world, we start giving trainings for different areas. And there are certain areas on the sales skills, expert webinars. This category come on expert webinar only. And we also have a social media training and digital training and email, e-flyer training, management skill, time management, and productive work from home training also. And soon we have been launching speakers talks about the books. So there are also going to be a new books are launching. A speaker will come and talk about the books and other things. So we are launching that also in soon. To reach maximum number of new advisors, salespeople who are looking for to achieve their lifetime. So this is a short about what ILLC do for the members who are around the world. As of now, everything is free of cost, so you don't need to pay anything for that. But the longer period, as long as the learning part, you may have to charge something for the members. So today we got our special speaker, Mr. Jade. Williams Dagher. So he is someone always been more motivational. I gone through recently I went to one of his webinar. I'm more impressive about that. I don't want to miss this guy who done a wonderful talk, and I request him to come to talk about our people who are around the world. They need this kind of solutions to be there, increase the productivity in a business, and what are the sales skills, what are the service skills you need to be them. So he accepted, and he also part of ILLC and one of the panel speaker. So today we go to see what about the profiles of Jade. Jade is a certified management consultant of CMC and owner of Expert and Business Development Strategies. He has more than 18 years experience in banking and factory studies and other financial planning services of individual small and medium-sized business. He has trained and operated in more than 14 countries in MENA region and acquired an outstanding experience dealing with more than 30 nationalities. I think we will also add Indian also will be there. I think he will add in that actually. So expert team driven by technology and up-to-the-date trend to develop the business. Jade believed that no one was born with a great, but everyone can expand. So that is his own ventures, what he's talking about. Jade is the trainer of City Foundation and founded Arab Women's Entrepreneur Project, AWEP. He founded the Business Net, a group with members of different entrepreneurial background focused on joint development and positive mental attitude and positive business approaches. Just become a certified Cisco Entrepreneur Institute faculty after successfully completing institute program managed and faculty trainer in December 2010. He also a fire walker. He attended Analyze the Power Within with Anthony Robinson in London. Now, Jade mission is improving the standard of the entrepreneur's ecosystem in Lebanon and region with building a bridge to cover up gap between the economic business in the world and practical reality entrepreneur facing those tough economical situations. So I think you know what is a very tough situation as of now. Everybody we've been feeling to the world. So to the pandemic, most of the being struggled. So we also come up that idea to give more motivation, people to get encouraged their sales ideas, skills to be developed on ourselves. It is all about Jade. So I'm just a moderator, I just introduce him. So over to Jade. I'm just doing it. Stop scaring. Jade, you can able to take forward from here. All the best. I'm also one of the moderator. I'll keep connecting any help, anything. I'll always that. Guys, you have any questions, anything, kindly put it in the chat box. End of the program, definitely we'll ask the expert to give the answer on that. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. I highly appreciate it. It reminded me of some things I've been through. Welcome everyone. I hope you will enjoy this session. I will try to start as fast as possible to benefit from time and to give you some tips about customer service and how to do a strategic plan technically for customer service. Because usually when we talk about strategic planning, we do usually strategic planning for funding. So people do strategic planning for getting bank loans. They do strategic planning to do an expansion plan, to get an investor, to franchise, and so on and so forth. But it's very rare to see people or businesses who are doing strategic planning in customer service. That's why thank you for proposing this subject, because it's very important, especially that when we talk about customer service, this is one of the most important parts in the business function. But before we start, let me ask you a question. How would you define, I would love to see your answers in the chat box. How would you define customer service? What does it mean to you? So when you hear customer service, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What's the best definition in your opinion? The experience, yes, very good answer. They should be happy, of course, another perfect answer. Of course, we're gonna see about this. It's definitely about making people happy and having a beautiful experience, because you know when you go to any company, any business, when you bring a coffee, when you bring a suit, when you bring a mobile phone, when you travel around the world, before, of course, the COVID-19 issue. So when you do all of that, what do you remember? Do you remember the details, or do you remember the experience that you got? So that's very important, as you said, Subhash. So the experience is very important. If you are happy, so you keep on talking about this company or this product or this service. If you are not happy, you don't talk about it. Or maybe, and we will see at the end, you will talk probably negatively about it, and that will harm the business reputation. So, of course, providing the best services, as Surab said, this is very important. Providing a very good experience is very important. But the most important thing is to keep the client happy, and we will see why in a while. So we will go, I will give you so many tips. So I will go as fast as possible to give you as much info as possible. And then at the end, any question that you may have, we can discuss them in details. So, of course, customer service is one of the most important sections. And that's why you need to understand your target audience. Because many people feel that they want to sell everyone. They want to sell anyone. Okay, this is a dream maybe. Okay, but we are not, I don't know, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, or so this is not easy. Okay, and even those cannot sell for everyone. Even Pepsi and Cola cannot sell for everyone because some people are health aware and they want something healthy to eat or to drink. Okay, so even those products that are mass products, they need to define a certain audience. So what is defining the audience? You need to understand who is the, if you are already in business, you need to look at your audience and try to analyze what is common between my audience. Is it the age? Is it the gender? Is it the nationality? Is it the area where they live? Is it the lifestyle they have? Is it their purchasing power? And the list can go forever. So once you understand your audience, this is the key to be able to best serve these people. Because anything we're going to discuss from now and on is all about understanding who your audience is and fitting to be able to make them happy, to best serve them, to give them the right service, the right products, and so on, so forth. Okay. Of course, Sanil, this is very important. Keeping always your word, your commitment, of course, that's very important, because if you miss one time your promise to the people you are working with, they will just simply be unhappy and you start losing business from them. Okay, and that's not easy to do. That's why we're going to see different tools to be able to do that. So step number one is to understand your audience. After you understand your audience, you need to ensure your availability. Why? Many people fall into this trap. Okay, so they say, you know what? I'm not available on weekends. You know what? I'm not available after 6. You know what? I cannot be available for this client all the time. They ask for too much. But beware, these are traps. If you're not available today, your customers can find an alternative in a click. One click, your competitor is away, just one click. No matter what you are doing, no matter where you are working, what kind of product and service, they can just research on Google, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, you name it, Instagram, and they can find an alternative. So being available is something very important. And when we say being available, it's not only about time. It's not only about time. It's also about being available on different channels, because it's not enough anymore to be available in the office. Going to office today is a plus or sometimes a minus, I don't know. Okay, so it's not mandatory to be in the office anymore, but you need to be available not only on the phone as well, not only on email. So today, the challenge is you need to be available everywhere. You need to be available on the website. You need to be available on the chat. You need to be available on WhatsApp. You need to be available on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on the email, on the phone call, on Zoom, on WhatsApp. You call. So there are plenty of services and plenty of channels, and this is where it becomes more and more complicated, because it's simple but it's complicated, because sometimes it's not easy to manage, especially if you have a big flow of clients. So serving them will not be easy. And don't fall into the trap of trying to bring all your clients into one channel. We all fell into this trap. You know what? I want to use only Zoom and let's bring everyone to Zoom. You know what? I want to use only email and I will bring everyone to email. So everything they ask me, for example, by WhatsApp, I tell them, please send it by email. But guess what? People will not do that. Some people just don't like emails. Some people don't like WhatsApp. Some people don't like Facebook, and the list goes on. So it's very important, and we will see that in a while, to understand, to be available first in all possible channels, and understand each person, which channel is the best for him, and you keep that in the record. We will see that in a while. So another very important thing to keep in mind when you're planning for our customer service is the speed of the service. We are in the era of speed. Today, information is available. It's not an important thing to have information anymore. Information is out there. You click, you go to Google, you go to YouTube, and you can find information about anything. The challenge is delivering quality product and on time. The challenge is to be the first to be able to respond. So how quick is your response time? This is something very important. If they ask you for a certain service, the client is asking you to change his address, to change a mode of payment, He's asking you for a certain document, and if you are late, good luck, because they have alternatives. They can replace you easily today. Okay, so you need to be, and when I say good luck, that's not positive, by the way. I use it as an insult because I don't believe in luck. So response time is very important, to be fast, to be always driving fast your business to deliver on time the best possible way. Some people fall into another trap here, and they say, you know what, if I deliver my service very fast, the client will not value it. This is a common mistake, because if I tell him it's gonna take some time, it's hard to get it, even if I have the answer, even if I have the document. So if I tell the client it's gonna take 4 days, 5 days, 1 week to get it, to make them feel that this is something important and hard to do, so it gives it more value and they can maybe charge for it, or at least just take a credit for it. But guess what? This is a common trap, and if you fall in it, it might backfire on you. It's very important to keep everything, your speed of service, to be very fast, because when the client needs something, he or she needs it now. When the client wants something, they want it now. When they are thinking about it, that means they have a certain objective behind this document or behind the service, so I need it right away. So the faster you are, the better it is for you, and the more they keep you in their mind. So another very important thing to keep in mind when you are planning for your customer service is the listening skills. And this is something extremely important when you are dealing with people, especially these days where people do not listen anymore. They don't have the time. They don't read and they don't listen. They don't give enough attention. While most of the times, the details are in the listening. The solution is in the listening. Most of the times, when you listen to the client, they will give you beautiful information. They will give you beautiful golden tips for you to take and to work on. And that's where you start making a difference. If you just want to be a good salesperson is the one who listens more. Long time ago, it used to be a good salesperson is the one who talks more, who presents better. Now it's not the case anymore. Today, people know, they are aware. Who doesn't know that smoking is bad? Who doesn't know that junk food is bad? Who doesn't know that insurance is good, that credit in the bank is bad, and so on, so forth? They know everything. They have the awareness. They are not waiting for us to give them the awareness. They know it all. But what they want to have today, what they need to have, is someone to listen to them and go do something about it. This is what they need. This is what they want, and this is what they are striving for. Okay, so very important to listen to people in so many different ways, because listening to people is not only over the phone. Listening to people is not only during the meeting. Listening to people is responding to their email, is the chat, all the channels that we discussed before, and to keep track of those information and to do something about it, and to keep asking open-ended questions, to ask them why. We're going to see this in a while. Why do you want it? I need to understand the hidden objective behind what they are asking. So when they ask for a certain service, there's a reason behind it. I need to understand the real reason to be able to do the right service. Otherwise, I'll be just an order taker, asking and responding just to do a good job, while it's very important to analyze and see what they are always looking for. And when you listen and when you take notes, then what you need to do is constant follow-up. Because if you don't follow up on your task, it's not important that if they ask for something, you just log into your laptop and you send an email and you put them in CC that you've done your job. That's good, but that's not enough. You send the email, perfect. You put them in CC, perfect. Did you schedule it on your calendar? Now it becomes more important. Did you call that person that you sent the email? Maybe it's in the junk. Did you reply back on the email to follow up on it after 1 or 2 days? Did you give them a reminder? So, nothing these days happens without follow-up. So a very good key to succeed in customer service is follow up, follow up, follow up. You need to keep following up all the time to get things done. People forget, people ignore, people have other priorities, people don't have enough time, people are not emotionally good, the client doesn't care. The client needs his job on time and in a good quality. So the more you follow up, the more you create a system for the follow up, the better you become, the more comfortable you become, and the more your customer service becomes excellent. And that's why they keep coming back to you. Okay, so that's something important to keep in mind, to keep following up all the time. And of course, you need to have accessible documentation. When they ask you for a certain paper, for a certain document, for a certain email, for a certain picture, for a certain summary, you need to have it ready. So your files must be extremely well organized, extremely well named and renamed to be able to find them, to code them if possible, and of course, to have a good backup for them, to make them available on the cloud, on your laptop, on your mobile, on a hard drive, and so on and so forth, because whenever you need that piece of information, it's urgent and you need it immediately. So if you keep searching for days to find it, it's a waste of time for you. It's a waste of time for your client. So it's extremely important to keep very good documentation. And I'm telling you this because documentation and backup was one of my major weaknesses around, I would say 20 years ago. It used to be one of my weaknesses. One of my bad habits, I used to write everything on paper and compile those paper, and my office was full of paper all the time, and it was an organized chaos. I know where each and every paper is, but whenever I need it, if someone organizes my desk, I would lose everything. But then I discovered that this is wrong. So I got an assistant, I delegated, and I told her, you know what, I want each and every piece of information in the right place. She did all the folders. She organized every category alone, the legal papers, the financial papers, the marketing papers, and so on and so forth. And so the newer one is on top, the older one is down. Everything was extremely well organized. And then after we finished, I told her, you know what? Now, the same thing that you can see in front of you, I want everything to be scanned, and I want to see the same folders on my desktop. So that was her next step. So she scanned everything and she renamed all and each and every document in the proper way. So if I want to search by the client name, by the document type name, by date, by etc. So everything will be found very easily. And then what I did, the third step is I took all this information and I uploaded to the cloud. Okay, so now wherever I am in the world, on any device I am, I can just access my username, password, and I can access all my files, everything I need in a click of a button. And that's why clients love that. They love to deal with me because one of the things is because I always have, they tell me, you know, you remember in 2012, in 2013, we were discussing something about a certain event, a certain, etc. So I go, I search, I take it out and I share depending on their preferred mode of communication by WhatsApp, by email. So I share that document and they get completely surprised positively because I found that document in few seconds. Okay, so the hard work is to do the planning. The joyful work is to technically enjoy the sharing, and the client will be happy that you found that piece of paper or that document that they needed at that time. So, of course, after the documentation and the backup, you need to think of a resourceful team. What do I mean by resourceful team? It's not only important to delegate, but you need to delegate to the right people. And even more, sometimes if you get a big team, you need to make sure that when the client calls, they don't get lost. So they don't want to call the company and they get an answering machine. And then they tell them, okay, wait, let me transfer you. So they go to A, then to B, then to C, then to D. And then they go back and they start going in circles. And they explain each and every time the whole problem to the person. And after they talk and finish after 2-3 minutes, oh, okay, so let me transfer you to another person. And then they have to repeat again. Why all this? So either dedicate one person to the client or at least have a very good team in the front, understanding each and every case, and they know how to handle internally. But transferring client from one person to another, and everyone tells the client, it's not in my department, let me transfer it to another department. This is a complete waste of time for the client, and it wastes your cost, your energy, and of course, your reputation. So, of course, you need as well a very good communication and empathy. Why? Because sometimes people tend to do anything that it takes to bring a client, but then they don't retain that client. Then when that client asks for something, they start complaining about it. When they keep asking for something, that means there is something going wrong. So communication is very important, trying to understand what is happening with them, why is it happening, why they need this service or that document or that task, okay? And empathizing with them. If you don't have empathy for your clients, you will be just robotic, and they can deal with anyone else. And the one who wins is the one who shows more empathy to the client. They show them they care. They show them they understand. They put themselves in their shoes, and that's why they serve them the best possible way. So maybe you are dealing with a client who doesn't understand technology. So you cannot tell them, okay, go to the website, download this, put that password, and so on. So you know that they will not do it. Okay, you can say it's not my problem, but actually it is. So you need to understand each client and see how to respond to them. If they don't understand a certain language, you need to facilitate it. If they don't understand a certain technology, you need to make it simple for them. You need to support them, to help them. So it's always very important to feel with the client, to empathize with the client, to communicate better with the client in order to win not only their brain, but also their heart. So, and this is where you start winning more and more, and this is where you start gaining their loyalty and their commitment. So, and here it's a golden point to understand their hidden motives. You know, when clients ask for a certain service or a certain product or a certain task, there must be a motive other than the one that you already know. So depending on what kind of service they are asking, what kind of product they are asking, what kind of task they are asking, you need to understand why they are asking for it. What's the real motive? Let me give you an example. Let me put a very, very simple example. If you go to a coffee shop, do you think all the people who go to Starbucks or to a certain coffee shop, they are just going to bring to just drink a coffee? Of course not. There are people who go there to drink the coffee. There are people who go there to study. There are people who go there to date. There are people who go there for a business meeting. There are people who go there to have some calm time because maybe their house is very crowded. There are some people who go there maybe because they need some internet connection. So the list is endless. But what is important is once I understand that this person, for example, is coming for this coffee because they are not here for the coffee, but they are here to study, then I will try to divert them to the right location where there is less noise. If they are making a business meeting, I try to put them in the corner where there are more business people, not young people. Okay, so same happens with each and every business. So if your client is, for example, making a certain plan, okay, for the future, for a retirement, for education, etc., you need to understand why. If they had a certain bad experience with their parents, so now you know where to focus. If you know that they lost in a certain investment, so now you know how to deal with that investment, what kind of advice to give them. Okay, maybe they are not ready to save, but they are ready to protect. Maybe they are going through a downtime in their career. So now it's not time probably to best save, but maybe it's the best time to protect, and then they can save later on. So it depends on, maybe they are changing, for example, their beneficiary on the policy. So are they changing their beneficiary because they just want to, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they are having a divorce. They want to change the beneficiary from the wife to the children. Maybe this is a sensitive information that I don't want to share, but you need to understand that if they are changing, that means there is something. So it's not just, it's okay, I can change it later on, doesn't matter. Maybe for you it doesn't matter, but for them it matters a lot. Okay, how many times you go to a bank, you ask them for a certain change on the credit card, a certain change on the number, a certain change on piece of information. And if they take time, you frustrate because you have another objective that you don't need to share with them, but you just need that task to be done. So once you understand the hidden motive, you'll be able to best serve them. You'll be able to best prioritize each task. If you have many tasks, you will know which task will come first, depending on the real motive of each and every client. Now, something very important to keep in mind when you are working with clients and when you are serving them is to use the pull strategy. So, you know, there are push and pull. The push strategy is when you keep on hitting on people and when you want to keep on upselling them, cross-selling them, pushing a certain service, reminding them. So you are always in a sales mode that you want to gain and bring more and more income, which is important. But on the long run, they get tired. Every time they see your number, oh, he wants to sell me something now. Okay, every time they see your chat or your message, I will not answer now because I'm sure they're going to offer me something to buy. So if your clients are feeling that every time you communicate with them, this is to sell them something, they will get frustrated. So what you need to do instead is to create a pull strategy. What is the pull strategy? If you are, take an example of a butterfly. If you want to catch a butterfly and you keep running after that butterfly, you will probably hurt it or probably make it die when you are trying to catch it. But for a nice flower, if the butterfly sees a nice flower, it will come and it will automatically come. This is the pull strategy. If you try to catch a fish, try to swim and to catch a fish, it's almost impossible. You might succeed in 1 or 2 cases, but if you sit and just put the attraction, so the fish will come to you and you will end up fishing much, much, much more. Same with the pull strategy, and especially in these days, now you have a lot of tools for the pull strategy. So you don't need to count on just one tool. There are methods. We used to just work on phone calls. Now that's obsolete. Sometimes for a week, I don't use my phone to make a call. Why? Because there are other alternatives. So the communication, the way you spread information, the way you get people to deal with you is totally different today. So now you need to use the pull strategy and be able to use different channels. You know, there are more than 10 channels that you can use to attract people through a pull strategy. And what is nice about it is that all of them are for free. You know, we know them, but we don't always do them. So we know that Facebook is for free, but what kind of posting are we doing? So we know that LinkedIn is for free if we want, but how many times are we using it properly? We know that we can write articles, blog, send emails to people, okay, create videos, whether awareness or something motivational or something to attract their attention or something to use as a reminder or as an animation to explain a certain product, a certain service. So imagine that you are putting one post on Facebook here, one post on LinkedIn there, you put something on Instagram here, you put a video on YouTube there, you write a blog and you post it on your blog here, you send them an email about something there, okay? You invite them to a webinar here, you invite them to a one-to-one meeting. So when you use these tools, and they are already there, we are not recreating the wheel, but what they will feel that, wow, you are available everywhere. And they are getting sometimes the same piece of information, but in a different way. For some people, they don't like to read. Maybe they will be attracted by a nice visual, a nice post with a nice caption. For other people, they like to read. So you give them an article about the same subject, but you go in depth. You write an article about it. For other people, they don't like to read, but maybe they will watch a video. So what you can do is you can take the same information and make a nice video about it, and so on and so forth. But when they see you here and there and in different ways and different tools and different languages, so this is where you start getting to their mind the first one. So when they think of your service, you become the first one to think about you. So they think about you the first one. And that's where you start attracting more and more people, and you end up fishing more and more clients. Sorry to use the word fishing, but that's good. Okay, so Of course, something very important is to do some interesting competition analysis. Why? Because when you are planning to serve your clients, you need to keep in mind that you are not the only one in the market. Many people say, you know what, I don't have a competitor. Well, the truth is, you have a lot of competitors. You have a lot of direct competitors and you have a lot of indirect competitors. Indirect competitors are the ones who provide a substitute product, an alternative product. Okay, so for example, if you are selling coffee, maybe your alternative is someone selling tea. If you are selling insurance, your alternative could be the bank providing bank assurance. If you are, I don't know, selling a trip to a certain country because people need to get entertained, maybe your competitor will be a spa selling people the concept of having a weekend in the country and to change their mood. So your indirect competitor is someone who could be in a different field, but who can satisfy the same need or the same desire for the client. And these people scare me the most because I don't know who they are. Okay, so for us as trainers and consultants, a backup or an indirect competitor could be a book, could be a webinar, a seminar, it could be a magazine, it could be something that you don't even think about that it exists. Okay, so that's why it could be sometimes a lawyer that opens a certain or auditing firm that opens a certain new department to do 1, 2, 3 services. So that's why it's very important to keep in mind to keep analyzing your competition, the direct and the indirect one. And something to always keep in mind is to check their rating. When you check your competitors, it's not about to go and to imitate them or to go or to badmouth them. Never do that. But why you need to check your competition? When you go to their Instagram, to their Facebook page, okay? So every time you go there, you can, thank you, Ali, I appreciate it. So you can go to their website or to their Facebook or to their Instagram and you check the rating. If people are complaining, for example, that they are not available after 6, okay, you don't need to say anything about it, but you can start promoting yourself in your field that, you know what, I work till 8 p.m. Okay, if the competition on their rating, on their reviews, people are complaining that they are not available during the weekend, you get yourself available during the weekend. And if not you personally, you delegate to someone who could take over during the weekend, and the list can go on. So if for example, many people complain about companies when they grow that they cannot reach the person to talk. They go to the call center, to the answering machine, from one person to another. So one thing you can do, and I do that to my clients, I tell them, you know what, call me on my mobile. If I don't answer, within maximum 4 or 5 hours, I'll get back to you because probably I'm in a certain meeting, I'm in a certain training, so I'll get back to you and we take it from there. So it's a matter of hours. Don't worry, but just give me a message, give me a call, talk to me directly so I can handle it. I don't just throw them to somebody else to be comfortable. Just the opposite. I get involved. For many people, for example, the days when we used to travel more before the COVID-19, so many competitors for us, oh, we get the clients to come to our office. We don't move. I call my client, I tell them, wherever you are, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, France, Cyprus, Greece, wherever you are, just give me a call and I'll be there. Okay, so why? Because I need to go to my clients to beat my competitor who cannot go there or who doesn't have the guts to go there or doesn't have the time to go there or who wants just to have a good ego and tell people that they don't go to clients, clients come to them. So I attract the right ones by finding the weaknesses of my competition, but I don't say anything about them. If they ask me about them, I tell them they are great. They are very good people. They do a very good job. Okay, but when they ask me, so I know that where their weaknesses are and I hit on that. So when I send my proposal, I send it for, if I know that people, for example, these are small tricks that you can use. If I know that this client had a certain pain with a certain competitor because they have a restricted timeline, at 5 they stop working, etc. I send my proposal at 8 p.m. I send that follow-up at 10 p.m. just to show them that I work at night. just to show them that I'm available. And most of the times I can bring business indirectly because I'm playing on my competition weaknesses without exposing them. Okay? So other than analyzing your competition, something very important to do is to be attentive to details, because details are very important in customer service. And it's not only, again, the service that they are asking for or the job they are expecting. It's those small details. For example, sometimes you have some people who don't like emails. Okay, you know that they don't have a good language, good English, or good communication skills and writing. So why do you want to give them a pain and send them an email and wait for the response? You know for a fact that they have a pain in responding to the emails. Okay, so what you can do instead, if you insist on sending that email, send the email for a record, but then send a voice note to the person and summarize that email for them. Okay, give them the solution. If you know, for example, that some people don't like WhatsApp, then don't call them over WhatsApp. Just ask for a meeting, be there, try to be present, and so on. If your people, your clients don't like to go online, then don't ask them for an online meeting. Try to set up a physical meeting if possible. Okay, if your clients like things in printing, I have clients who hate the digital world. Okay, one of my best clients, anything that they want to have, they need to have, he wants to have it on NA3 paper. That was something new to me. Okay, not only printed, but on A3. So probably because he has sight problem, and I discovered that later on. So when you communicate again, when you empathize, instead of complaining, oh, he wants to print on a, who still prints these days? This is a waste of ink. This is a waste of paper. This is a waste for the Mother Nature. Fine, but try to understand why. So at one time, I was speaking with his son. I told him, I'm surprised that your father is a great businessman, a very successful entrepreneur, but why is he always into the printing thing? Why doesn't he go digital? Do you think he has a challenge in that? He's like, no. But let me tell you something. He has high sugar in his blood, and this is impacting his sight. And every time he has to focus on the laptop or on the mobile, he gets dizzy and he gets disrupted. So he prefers to see things printed on A3 and everything in bold. So this is how he functions. So I could adapt. Okay, it was a pain for me, but it was a solution for him. So these small details, whether it's about when to meet, there are some people where they respect a certain time, for example, to meet their family. Okay, because they have restricted time to meet their family. I don't call them during that time. Some people are only available during the weekend. I have many clients who only wake up for their needs on a Saturday or on a Sunday. Usually I used to hate that, but now I understand that this is the only time where their brain is calm and they can think. Of course, I don't open it to all my clients, to everyone, but I try as much as possible these few clients who love to operate on a weekend to give them some special attention. Okay, when they give me a certain piece of information, they tell me, you know what, I changed my email address. Make sure to change that email address, to change it everywhere, and use newsletter and the contacts, every single place, because if you keep sending to the wrong email, they get frustrated, they unsubscribe. Okay, so each and every detail, sometimes, and most importantly, the way they write their name. People hate when you write their name the wrong way. So many people, for example, and I am one of those people who get irritated when people write my name like this. So I write it with an E, okay? With E, because since I was young, I saw that in the dictionary that my name comes from the precious stone, the jade. So I loved it, okay? And since that time, I changed everything everywhere where I write my name to put it this way. So every time someone writes it not this way, I get irritated. Now I don't need to explain every time to each and everyone why I write my name this way, but this is how I like to write it. And I know many people who have the same problem. And someone would tell them, oh, it's okay, no problem. For you, it's not a problem. For him, it is. Okay? Why? That's another issue. We cannot always understand the why, but we need to respect that when they give us a certain remark, to take note, to make sure that we communicate this to all the team, to everywhere in the system, to the team, to make sure that we don't fall into the same mistake, because people don't like to keep repeating themselves to fix a certain problem. So the more you are attentive to details, the more you can win with clients. The more you are focused on doing the right thing, the more you will be winning with the clients. Okay? So another good important point is to have key performance indicators to measure every single part of the customer service, their complaints, their reports. Okay? So how many complaints are you having per month? How many services are you doing per month? How many calls you are receiving per month? Okay, so each and everything must be well measured to make sure that, for example, if you got 12 services this week, to make sure that you satisfied the 12. If you got 20, to make sure you solved the 20. If you got 5 complaints, to make sure you eliminated those complaints. So, and from one month to another, to see if those complaints are going up or going down, to see if those services are going up or going down, to be able to know whether you need to recruit more people or whether you need to change something in the system, and so on and so forth. And of course, to best serve your clients, it's very important to have a CRM, because when you have a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager, it's a software that logs all the information, and everyone in the team, when they log in, they get to see the history. I'll give you a small example. I used to go very frequently to Dubai, and I used to go to a certain hotel because it's very close to the center and very close to the metro. So it was a very nice place to go. But every time I go, and sometimes I used to go twice, 3 times a month, so that's almost 1 time a week. Every time I go there, they have to re-ask me the same question again and again. So smoking room, which floor, seaside, and all these details, where every time I need to repeat the same thing. One time, I went to another hotel just next to it, a little bit far, but just next to it. And in this hotel, at one time, they took this information, and then the next time I came, so they automatically told me, okay, so you want to have an upper floor, sea view, no smoking, quiet area. I was like, wow, that's exactly what I wanted. So do you think that employee remembered those information? Of course not. He just wrote it on the CRM. And now every employee who gets in front of that laptop or in front of that PC, they would see the same information. And they will facilitate my life, and they will give me the service that I want. Okay? So these details are very important, but without a system, you can never record those information. So I'll give you a final very important checklist before going to your questions. So the first one is technically to hire the right employees and train them on service skills. Don't just, if you need to grow, you need to delegate. But when you delegate, you need to recruit the right employees. If you recruit the wrong employees because they are cheaper or you cannot afford a lot, that could be the wrong decision. Recruit the very good employees who are customer oriented and keep training them on how to best serve the people, because when they serve the people well, again, people will be happy and they keep on getting back to you. Now, another important point is to set goals for customer service. So if you do a customer service survey and your point was 70 over 100, so you put a goal, you say, you know what, next quarter we need to be at least 75. The next quarter we need to be at least 77. So we put a goal, for example, to reduce the complaints. So you know what, last month we had 10 complaints. This month we need to have maximum 7. The next month we need to have maximum 5. Now, when you do that, you try to understand why those complaints came in the beginning, and you try to work it out to solve it accordingly. Okay? So very important to set very clear goals for your customer service. You do the complaint report. So every time you get a complaint, don't just say, they are complaining, they will forget. No, make a report out of it. So date, time, client name, complaint type, who was responsible for it, what happened, how did you solve it? So you make sure that you are tracking and if it solved or not. The more you get back to these complaint report, the more you try to understand that, for example, these complaints are always coming from the same department. These complaints are always coming from the same person. These complaints are always coming because you are overloaded and you need to recruit people. So the more you understand why you have complaints, then the more you are going in the right direction. You need to write FAQs, frequently asked questions, from the complaints, from the sales meetings, from the tasks that people ask. Write frequently asked questions. What do they usually ask? Write those questions, put the right answer, and give it to your team. Put it on your website, put it on social media, put it in front of you on the table. Anyone who is communicating with people, they don't every time need to ask you the same question. How do I solve this? How do I solve that? Why is this like this? Just write them. They become like a guidebook. So every time you have this question, it's like on the websites, on the software, etc. So you go and you understand why this is happening and what are the possible solutions. So this is very important to have. Make checklist for each part of the service. Okay, a checklist for each and every part of the service. So when a client calls you, what do I need to have? So I need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I make a checklist and I call it receiving a call. Preparing a proposal, what do I need to have? I need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Date of birth, the client address, the name, the correct way to name it. Maybe their name is written something, but on the passport it's written something else. If you need the date of birth, if you need, etc. So how painful it is to finish a certain request and then call back the client again. I'm sorry, but can you give me your date of birth? For me, this is a turn down as a client. So always have a checklist to make sure that each and every question, because every brain tends to forget something. So instead of forgetting, put all your energy in the checklist and every part will have a checklist. And ultimately, when things go perfect in the checklist, try to automate some parts of the process. So if they submit a request, it opens a questionnaire. You fill the questionnaire, which is this technically the checklist, but now automated. When you press submit, it goes to this person with CC to that person. When they answer, it goes to that department with CC to this person, to this manager. So you start automating some parts of the process, and this is where you reduce the mistakes and you finish your task with less time and you have a record for it. Okay, so this is the best way to best serve your clients. And of course, always make customer satisfaction surveys. Don't get over flattered that you are doing a great job. Make that survey, make it anonymous. Try to understand what's wrong. Sometimes they give you a certain remark that you need to work on yourself. Maybe it's about the timing, maybe it's about your methodology, maybe it's about anything that you have. The only way to learn, the best way to learn, not the only way, the best way to learn is to learn from your customers' feedback. Okay, so the more you do surveys, the more you engage them, the more you hear from them, the more you can improve your quality of service. And of course, when you are working with a team, reward and recognize the good service. When your team does a good thing, don't just tell them, yeah, I know, yeah, it's your job, you know. Next time they will not do it, or they will not do it with their full heart. So make sure when they do a very good service, give them a very good way to reward them, to tell them, wonderful, you did a great job, and reward them, whether just a moral award, recognition, or by a financial reward or anything, just to give them the motivation to keep doing a very good service. And even if it's yourself, if you are working alone, reward yourself for the good service. Drink that wine, go to that party, bring that new mobile phone. You know, when you do a great service, you need to reward yourself to keep always energetic, because after all, when you are in a good energy, when you are in a good shape, you serve your clients the best possible way. And of course, give your customer service representatives, if you have customer service representatives, give them the power to exceed customer expectations. Because when you put a customer service representative who is just an order taker, yes, hello, sir, yeah, thank you for your feedback, I'll get back to you. They close and nothing will happen. You know, I'm asking for this service, can you give it to me? I'm sorry, sir, but this is not in my hand. I'm going to transfer this to the manager and then I'll get back to you. If every customer service is going through and has to go back to the manager, then why are you having a customer service team? I'm not going to name bad examples in this area, but we all know bad examples where you keep calling 1 time, 10 times, 20 times for the same service and you never get to a result. But for them, they did their job, they have a good customer service team, they are smiling at you, and anything else I can help you with, sir? I'm no, sir. I just want to solve that initial task that I asked for you. So, and this will push people to go to your competitor. So that's why always make sure to empower. If you put people to do customer service, make sure to give them enough power to solve the regular problems at least, and give you only the tough problems for you to solve. Keep in mind, to finalize, that as you said, happy staff, when your staff is happy, the customers will be happy. Okay, so make sure that your staff are happy. If you deal with your staff in a bad way, they will feel down. When they communicate with the customers, they will give them a bad experience. But if you are dealing with your staff in a good way, you are rewarding them, you are motivating them, that means you will have happy customers. When you have happy customers, what will they do? They will give you good referrals. And we all know that referrals are the main source for prospecting, for getting new business. And when you get happy referrals, you get a repeat business, either with the same people or technically with the new referrals that you get from them. So it's always a cycle: happy staff, happy customers, happy referrals, repeat business. And that's what keeps you running in a good and positive way. And always remember the 6 Sigma concept. What's the 6 Sigma? If you look at statistics, the standard deviation is when you get 6 Sigma, that means it's 0 defect. Okay, at 6 Sigma, that means you have 0 problems, 0 defects, 0 complaints. So usually, because we know that we cannot reach the 6 Sigma, so we tend to reach the 5, 4, 3 Sigma, which is usually the common average. It's at 99 point something %, which means because no one is perfect, so we tend to accept the 1% deficiency. But when we accept the 1% deficiency, and as the founder of this concept, Jack Welch, says, when you get 1%, just imagine if 1% of the flights are falling. What happens to the world? Imagine that only 1% of the food is poisoned. What happens to the world? Imagine if 1% of the medical prescriptions are wrong. What happens to the world? Actually, it is what is happening right now. The problem is not in doing the 99%. The problem is in not doing that 1% extra mile, which is because we tend to feel that it's okay, it's no problem, it's not a big deal. And he elaborates on this. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you have a restaurant and you have 1,000 clients coming to you every day to make sandwiches. So you are producing 1,000 pizzas a day or 1,000 sandwiches a day. And only 1%, just 1%, are not satisfied, either because they have a hair in the food, either because it's overcooked, undercooked, it's not good, whatever. That 1% means 10 people per day who are talking negatively about your product or service. And when, as you know, when a customer is happy, they tend to tell 2 to 3 people around them only. But when a customer is not happy, the general tendency is they tell around plus or minus 20 people. And these statistics were before social media. So now if they put it on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, you have thousands of people talking. But let's stick to the 20. So you have 10 people who are talking negatively per day about your restaurant, times 300 times 20 people, that's 200 per day, times 300 or 365 days a year. That means you have more than 70,000 people talking negatively about your restaurant. Now, what's going to happen? Do you have, first slide, target market, 70,000 people in your area? And then they tell you, oh, whoa, the situation is bad. They blame it on the situation. No, you should blame it on you. You should blame it on that 1%. Because we could have avoided this. If you have 1,500 clients, 300 clients that you are serving, and only 1% are not being satisfied because you forgot to respond to their email, because you forgot to send them that paper, because you forgot to give them that service that they asked for, and they tell 20 people, and they start communicating this, what happens? All your portfolio will go down in less than a year, and you get a bad reputation. And then every time you try to call someone, he's very talkative, he's good, but never answers his calls. Don't work with him. And you start losing business. Okay, so very important to keep in mind that to solve this 1%, you need to do two things. You need to keep measuring your process. So the more you measure, the more you avoid this mistake. The more you measure, the more you avoid this mistake. Because if you put the right ingredients, if you have that complaints report, if you have the customer service report, if you have your calendar and your reminder, if you are measuring every single point, most probably you would not fall into that mistake. And even if the probability now is low, and that's where you use the good customer service to make them forget it. So you apologize and you make sure not to repeat it again, and you log it in your CRM and you communicate it with your team, and you make sure to delete that negative complaint. All right, thank you for your time. Now the floor is yours. If you have any questions, we're all there for you.
Thank you, Jade. So, any questions, members, kindly put in the drop box. Jade will be giving the answer. And again, once again, Jade, this is a mind that will be a very good presentations and talk about how much so important on customer service and their value added and other things. I like the way you presented. We used to face that difficult when taken in India. Most of them is not more equipped on digitally. Some of them are always not responding the mail. They don't know how to give importance, another thing. But one idea we've taken over there, that voice messages is something is very useful when you adapting your systems. It's a very unique way. It's wonderful idea on that actually. So
yes, of course, not all people are still. Unfortunately, not all people are up to date with technology. But we're almost in 2021. So it's not acceptable anymore not to be familiar. Now, if the person himself cannot be up to date with technology for a reason or another, that's fine. But get someone in the team who can do that. You know what I mean? So get someone on board who can do that, because of course you will always find people who don't want technology, or you can always find clients who don't like technology. That's fine, but you'll be losing a lot. So even if you don't want to use technology with your clients, but use it internally, make sure to organize your reports, your documents, your statistics, to analyze everything, because there is no way to be able to analyze and to measure without using at least some technology. And I'm saying some technology, at least Excel, at least so, but you cannot just on paper anymore. It's impossible. If you need to see how many times you met with that client, okay, and you need to review on that agenda. I see so many people, unfortunately, who still use the paper agenda, and they start flipping and flipping and flipping. How long can you flip to understand and to see and to realize how many times you met with that client? Whereas if you go on your Outlook, on your Google Calendar, on whichever digital calendar, you just click on search and you get, in a click of a second, all the details you need. Okay, so it's very important to go digital. And if you're not digital oriented, either get somebody to do that job for you, delegate to your son, to your cousin, to a new employee, or at least now it's a learning curve for you to go and to study more, a little bit more about technology, to get more and more familiar, for sure.
Thanks. Jade, just want to ask you, somehow I've been interacting with members around the world. There is two different situations. One is before COVID and after COVID. So now there is a meeting the client. It is made more and more on digital now. So what is the best way to get referrals? So can we give some highlight on that?
Yes, you mean references online? That's
Yes.
what you meant?
Yeah. So there is ought to get appointments and other things. So what are the best ways we can able to do some referrals?
Look, the list for me is endless, but I would say let me give you the ones I use, which are very simple, and we know them, but we don't always apply them. Okay, so of course, one of the ways is as simple as grab your phone and call your client, make sure they are doing fine, and if you are doing that on a regular basis, then you call again, and the next time you tell him, hello, how are you? All is fine. By the way, after checking on them and everything, just who would you recommend for my services? Because you know now that we are moving online and so on, so distances are not a big issue anymore. So do you have people in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, in India, in Mexico, etc., etc.? Who do you have on mind so I can invite them to this meeting to communicate with them? So that's one way. So asking over the phone. The same way you can do it over a voice note if you are always in touch, not that you disappear for a year and then you send a voice note or a call and you ask them for referrals. Of course, they will not give you. But if you are all the time doing your good service, sending those emails, doing your follow-ups, greeting your clients, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Adha, Happy Thanksgiving Day, you name it, you know, all the greetings that are happening all over the year. So you have so many greetings every year, many events that are happening. So when you keep on telling your people that you are there for them, that you wish them good things, happy birthday, and so on. So if at one point in time you just grab your phone and you send them a WhatsApp voice note and you tell them, hello, listen, I'm going to that country that day, or I'm introducing this new product or this new service, and I would like you to refer me to a couple of friends that could be interested, just to spread this awareness and get their opinion. I'm sure if they are happy, they will give you. So same concept, you could do it on LinkedIn. Same concept, you can do it on Facebook. Same concept, you can do it on emails. You know, in every training feedback form that I do, there's a question, would you like to refer us to people? Of course, not everyone will fill it, but count how many trainings I do. And in each and every time I ask people, so I get a lot of referrals. Okay, so from now every now and then I send an email. So thank you for my clients, thank you for this year, it was a good year, etc., etc. So I would like to ask you for two things. One, if you can give us a testimonial about our services so we can use it on our website. Two, if you would like to refer us to somebody new so we can duplicate this service to people that you know and you care about. Three, if you would like us to book a meeting where we can discuss the new plan for the next year. Okay, so telephone, WhatsApp, email, LinkedIn, Facebook. Sometimes you check on the Facebook. For example, I see someone on Facebook, two friends holding hands together. Okay, they are in a certain event, five friends together having a drink. Very good. One of them is my clients. I send him a message. I call him. How are you? How is everything? Listen, by the way, I saw you with these four people. It seems you are good friends with them. Yes, of course. These are my childhood friends. Excellent. You know what? I would like to have a drink with them and I would need to introduce them to my service. What's the best way to reach them? Oh, I'll just send you now their numbers. Tell them on my behalf. Okay, these are for referrals. You know, so when you keep on doing that, it should be part of your system each and every day. Plus, one more tip. When you do a sales presentation, the very common problem and the very common mistake that people do, they finish their presentation, they go prepare their proposal, they follow up on the client, either they sell or not. So if they don't sell, they don't go back to the client. And if they sell, they wait until I don't know when to ask for referrals. But you know, when you see 10 people, you are probably selling one. If you are seeing 100 people, you are probably selling 10, 15, maximum 20. Okay, so which one is better? Is to get referrals from the 10% who bought or from the 100% that I met? So what I do instead, before proposing, before going to the details, so I explain, I do my presentation, and when I finish, tell them, listen, next time I'm gonna prepare the proposal and we can meet to discuss it. But who of your friends or people around that you care about, do you think could be interested in such a service or product? So now I'm asking the 100 people that I met, not only the 10%. And I promise you, here I get 10 times more referrals because they didn't go through all the process. And sometimes during the process, the client rejects the offer. Sometimes they don't get back to you. Sometimes they just disappear. Sometimes, so to avoid all of these, ask people for referrals during the first meeting, even if it's online. So when you are meeting online, okay, another good way, and I'm using this a lot, this is a 2020 new tip, invite them to a webinar. So send a WhatsApp, an email, a Facebook, an invitation to people about a certain nice presentation that has some nice tips, some interesting, and tell them, you know what, you can bring your friends. So when they come, now you have the list, you can get back to them. If you don't get back to them one-to-one, you take their emails and you put them in your newsletter. And next time you start, when you send an email, when you add them to Facebook, when you add them to LinkedIn, so now they are part of your network. So your network is growing little by little. Okay, so really this is unlimited. Okay, how much you can go. Sometimes you can simply browse in your client, for example, references on LinkedIn. Okay, and you spot that out of 100, 200, 300 contacts that they probably have 10 CEOs, 20 CEOs. So call him. By the way, I saw that on your network you have these 20 CEOs. What's the best way to reach them and to communicate this specific service for them? Because I have this very interesting product for them. Maybe they are HR managers. You know what? I have a very interesting product for HR managers to communicate with their teams. I saw that on your network you have these 7 HR managers. How can I reach them? Sometimes they will tell you, oh, just, you know what, I'm going to call them. Or you know what, I'm going to give you their email addresses and you take it from there. So it's unlimited, but you have to keep this working all the time. And this is the only way to be able to generate referrals. But keep in mind that if your clients are not satisfied, they will not give you one referral. That's why we need to apply everything we talked about before.
Great, great, great. And a lot of learning, Jade, and as long as that you give a lot of information, it's keep on taking it, whatever you're saying it. Let's go to the members, and any questions, just put in the Dropbox. So Jade quickly give a lot of, you can get something from this guy. So he's the man who I'm looking forward for a lot of ideas and innovations. He's doing it.
Great, great.
There is any systems on the mailing where what kind of contents we need to send, what are the things we need to mainly attract. See, we used to get several mails, right? So there is any studies on that? This is the messages we need to send it to the customers.
Look, my advice in this area would be to have a diversified content. Okay, so you need a good, I would say, content management strategy where you need to have 3 main pillars of messages. The first pillar is, one of the pillars is to raise awareness, okay, to educate people, because you don't expect people to know it all. So you need to always educate them, send them something informational, new statistics. So it's a big title, awareness, but it could include tips, it could include statistics, it could include research, it could include a summary of a certain service or product. So these are the informational, I would say, or educational or awareness type of content. Okay, so that's one category. Now you send it as a text, as a graph, as a video. You need to use the 3. Okay, so you need to diversify within the same category, also different ways to communicate, because again, some people don't like to read, some people don't like to watch a video, some people don't like, so you need to diversify your content. Okay, now the second area is technically to remind people that you exist. So in reminding people that you exist, it's also a big umbrella, and the thing is will be just to, one of them is to greet them. So Happy New Year, it's coming soon. Okay, so they remember, they see your name coming. You don't need to always be pushing here. So you're just greeting them. I'm just wishing you a Happy New Year. That's it. So with your name, with your logo, and so on. So you don't need to, whenever you are greeting, just greet. Whenever you are educating, just educate. Don't sell. You know. So under greeting, so under the reminder, it could be for greeting. It could be a reminder because this is the best time of the year to 1, 2, 3. Okay, so best time of the year for us now is to start planning for 2021.
Yes.
Best time of the year to start doing a New Year resolution, to start your financial planning, to start setting new goals, to start, etc. So sometimes the timing of the year is an important thing. If it's the Cancer month, okay, this is the good time to check yourself and make sure you are well protected. Okay, so sometimes the month or for example, Valentine. Okay, so reminder, Happy Valentine's. This is the right time to offer your family this service, this product, etc. So every time you can find an opportunity from each and every event that you can use to remind people that you exist. Even if you don't tell them to buy, but at least you are reminding them that you exist during this good event, and unconsciously they might remember to buy from you. So one is awareness and education. Two is reminders through events or through greetings and so on. The third type is technically to sell them. So sometimes you just need to sell them, to send them a special offer. So so you put something motivational and you ask for a meeting. So we call it call to action. Okay, so book your meeting now. Let's meet this week. You have a special offer before the end of the month. So sometimes you need to be selling because after all, we're not there just to raise awareness and to make the world better. We need to close cases, bring money, and get our responsibilities on track and pay our commitments and so on. So of course we need to sell. So sometimes you just need to, and here under this one, it could be a special offer, it could be a special trigger, a certain deadline. It could be sometimes posting something that is emotional, something that is painful. It depends on, for example, in a certain area, you can post a certain emotional video that could shake their emotions, and then you tell them, you know what, to avoid such a situation, let's have a call, let's meet together. So sometimes you need to shake it, but every time you need to remember, whether it's awareness or a reminder or you are selling, make sure every time to have different types of content. Sometimes you make a nice design, sometimes it's only the text, okay, just briefing them. Sometimes it's a big newsletter, it's a big article, sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's you talking to the camera, you make a video for yourself speaking to them. So you need to diversify the content. And again, if you send just one email a month, that's 12 emails a year. So that's already good enough of reminders and education and so on. So, and of course, don't make it more than once a week because this becomes too much. So maximum is once a week and minimum is once a month. Anything in between is really good and perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a wonderful idea that we're just learning about. So we almost come to end. We got wonderful training, and I hope these 1 hour, whatever the minutes, what we have been learned from you, that we can keep learning on some more ideas. Another thing, hope you also part of ILLC, and I wish you all the best. For you members who got any questions, kindly put in the Dropbox. So I'm just can you take over the screen sharing?
Sure. Just let me see. 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just sharing it, the contact details before ending it up actually. So any comments, feedbacks, or any questions you need to ask for that, I'm available all the format, and kindly visit our web page. We already record this video. If you are not watched from the beginning, and soon I'm uploading that video on the YouTube, so you can able to get knowledge more and more, and keep sending the questions. And iShakti ILLC 2020 at gmail.com and even shaktibirla@gmail.com. So you can whichever format, and you can able to connect all the formats we have in LinkedIn, we have in Facebook. So happy to connect with you all. I learned a lot. I hope you also get to learn a lot, and looking forward for next webinar. Thank you so much. We got a wonderful speaker. Thank you, Jade. Give me an opportunity for connecting our members. Looking forward some more programs like this in upcoming days. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. It was really a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jade. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a great day.